Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
Yeah, I'm Heron.
This is Seeking Me Productions, bringing you a movie review.
Well, I am very proud of us. We got to watch quite extensive slate of movies.
Yes, and 2023, we're going to still, hopefully, we still have a couple more.
There's definitely a couple more we need to see.
Yeah, but we saw some, it was a year of firsts.
Mm-hmm.
A year of a lot of, like, some ups and downs. But later in the year, it came off strong. And, it was consistent in the beginning, then it's coming in stronger, especially with the awards fair.
One area or avenue that tends to be a little bit, or tends to get left out a lot more than often,
Or more like undervalued.
Yeah, undervalued, is the animated section.
Sometimes, if the animated film is just so good, it actually does get other couple of nominations for a single film.
That is very true. And that tended to be the case with the studio whose project we got to see not too long ago. Of course, we are talking about Studio Ghibli, and the project that we got to witness happens to be The Boy and the Heron. At least that is how it is named or titled over here. In Japan, it might have gone by another name.
Like How Do You Live? So we finally was able to watch our first Studio Ghibli film in theaters.
Oh yeah, and let's not state out that this is like the only Studio Ghibli film we've seen. We've seen quite a few extensive parts of the Studio Ghibli category. I have quite a few of my favorites. My highest being Princess Mononoke.
Same here, and on this channel, due to a lack of Studio Ghibli related content, we did post a tribute video that you can see earlier this year that we posted. So be on check on that after you see this review.
But basically, how does this particular film, where does it stack?
Like most Studio Ghibli movies, or at least quite a few of them, Hayao Miyazaki, he directs a lot. He's a prominent director in that studio. Studio Ghibli ranges from the grounded coming of age and slice of life, the light coming of age has some fantastical elements, and then you get some very high epic fantasies.
This one, I will say, kind of neatly fits. I would say it borders between both. It's a very unique story that is telling a very personal one.
So, Born in Heron, without going into too much details, it is set during World War II, and it tells the story of a boy named Mohito, who is unfortunately going through the grieving process.
Yes, he has unfortunately lost his mother due to a great accident that took place in his hometown, and from that point of view, he ends up going to go travel with his father to go visit his new stepmother, and start and pick up the pieces from where his original part of life had tended to take a horrible wrong turn.
And the plot picks up when he begins to be taunted by a gray heron. Yes.
This particular character is the area where a lot of the fantastical elements are starting to trickle into it.
And that's basically the premise. Which we tend to stop around here because before the film's release, technically speaking, the movie was originally not going to have a promotional campaign.
At least that's how it was basically presented in its native area. The Studio Ghibli films have a bit of a prestige around them. They're very much the top notch of most animated features. So for this particular production company not releasing a trailer where it could be definitely be initially would definitely spell doom or a great worry for various other studios didn't necessarily fit the same way for this particular company. Why? Because they get off on name recognition alone. They're that good. And if you've seen any of their productions, you will understand this.
Yes, and the quality of the Boy and the Heron story is no different than what you'll find there. It's just that in the West, we're not that disciplined, apparently.
Yes, true.
So by the time this film was about to roll out, there's been many trailers. We only saw the first teaser because even then we wanted to respect them, the surprises though unfold. And like we said, once the Great Heron starts to make his appearance into the film, it's basically an escalation of fantastical scenarios.
Mostly centered around the main character trying to figure out where they stand with, again, in the new family dynamics, and then again also the loss of their mother, and maybe trying to figure out how or if it's possible to
reunite.
Exactly.
And one aspect of the story and what the themes of what this movie is trying to convey, we want to go back to where we said the film initially had 2 titles.
Exactly. Again, for over here, it's The Boy and the Heron, but in Japan, it's known as How Do You Live?
How Do You Live is from a novel from Japan from this of the same name that's actually is referenced in the movie.
That's true.
But The Boy and the Heron represents basically more of a clear and focused expression of what you actually seen in the film.
On the side of, when you hear the title How Do You Live, it brings up aspects of trying to figure out how an individual's choices impacts and shapes their life. Now, there are elements within this story that definitely flex around that particular type of theme. But I feel as though the main focus of this film is a journey exploration of the character through not only their particular unique specific issues, but how they navigate the world once they transition between the original and the fantastical, and doing so with the companion of the Heron themselves.
It's just that by the movie's end, it kind of does have somewhat of a messy, rushed ending on how they wanted to tie up the narrative focus, the narrative themes, what they were trying to convey with that title of How You Live. But The Boy and the Heron is clearly more of a it's
pretty
more
straightforward,
appropriate title. But the character Mojito, at the end of the day, I feel as though he needed therapy.
Yeah, honestly, at the end of the day, they made so many choices in this film, at least towards the beginning of it, where you could definitely see that, yes, that hurt impacted them so strongly, and I guess also on the way that they were raised too, and it's almost like a straight militarized variation of living.
It's like he's Mahito. He is clearly from like he's very much of a rich kid, based on how his father is a CEO of a manufacturing company, and pretty much distant emotionally. Mahito, he's well resourceful, but he's very stoic.
Basically, he sections off things as he's able to handle them, and he attacks those particular situations with precision on how he feels though is the best way to go around, either to his detriment or not. And those are the more compelling parts to his storyline and his character. But I feel as though if we had a lot more time to explore on the reasons and the thought choices behind his actions, would have been more compelling.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the case that he does have, he try to have people do support him, whether with his stepmother, who is pregnant with the upcoming child from his father. Not really limited role. Because she's very important to the integral of the plot, especially where it moves forward.
That's true.
But a lot of their characters' revelations, it really, really would have been helpful if we got a little bit more backstory with also the mother's side.
Yes.
There's like so much information is presented in this film as far as characters go. It's just that
it's rushed. And I feel as though that's like literally the main concept that you find throughout this entire story is that a lot of the basic storytelling elements are a little bit more rushed than they would have been in other Studio Ghibli productions. I feel as though if they allowed this story to breathe, we would have enjoyed it even further. I think one of the more enjoyable aspects from this film comes from the great Heron and a lot of the other cool characters that you meet along his journey.
More on the basically once the fantastical elements do come into play. Not to really spoil so much about what you may find.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the voice acting is concerned, we watched it on English dub.
Exactly.
And that's anime is like usually a toss of the coin for us.
It really is, and I feel as though when it came to Studio Ghibli films, a lot of the variations that we saw in those are the dub version.
Especially since they put like whoever the distributor is, they do just dish out the money.
Exactly.
So you might want to support on that front.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody put that much effort, especially getting good name talent. Like Robert Pattinson.
Wow. I feel as though this, if anything, this role in this film has definitely broadened my horizon on what he is possibly able to do. This man needs more work.
Yes, his vocal range is something to really experience when watching this film,
mm-hmm.
Especially with the character of the Great Heron. And you got like other returning veterans. Christian Bale, he
yes.
Voices the father of Mahito Soichi, who is like, thank you for actually having an anime father present in his life.
Present and actively wants to try and improve his son's life in a more positive manner, and but also at the same time he does have his faults. And it's refreshing to see a dynamic where it's not like he's just thrown away or doesn't care at all.
It's just that clearly this person has he does focus responsibility on many other things until it gets too bad out of hand.
Yeah.
Real quick. So a lot more of the family dynamic was needed for that internal conflict.
True.
But a lot of what is being held together with usually with Studio Ghibli films is production.
Mm-hmm.
Hayao Miyazaki, this was last time he directed a film was The Wind Rises, which was at that time was probably his last movie. Yeah, right. This clearly we're here. Look,
I feel as though it's proven more times than not that Miyazaki is going to continue to make films and stories like this so long as he actually has stories to tell.
And especially with the type of quality in which he is able to bring, him and his team was able to bring forth. Very rare in a theatrical release do we get traditionally hand animated
it was such
visuals.
A treat to be able to see that again, and I want to see that more. There's a unique quality to hand-drawn animation that you don't get from 3D animated productions. Not to say that, and I'm definitely not trying to throw shade on any productions that are not hand drawn.
It's just that there should be a welcome variety.
Exactly, it should be appreciation for all forms of animation. Whether you're doing claymation, hand drawn, 3D animation, whatever it is, there is a beauty in and craftsmanship towards those art styles, and they deserve to all be seen.
And in this film in particular, we see when we say there's an escalation on the fantastical elements. There is like almost as the film progresses, a new sense of imagination is being presented here. There are visual callbacks, mind you, that may come to mind from from Studio Ghibli's other works. Not to spoil on what type of visuals that may convey. Like Howl's Moving Castle is a prime film that evokes visually from this movie. Especially Spirited Away.
Oh yeah, definitely heavily Spirited Away actually in certain areas.
But like that, from the visuals, music is also a very key component on how these movies are probably even more so. But
yes,
the added assistants. Joe Hisashi, a long-time composer for Studio Ghibli movies, comes back with a very intimate piano-based score.
And I feel as though intimacy is the name of the game for this particular story in general. This is very much a personal journey that is taken on by the character, and I feel as though that, if anything, that's what this movie succeeds in. But that being said, again, having more exploration on the wider scope of what was going on would have helped this film out tremendously So I feel as though at the end of the day, if I was going to go ahead and give this any particular rating, I would probably just give this a great or a good. But I think I want to fall mostly on being good for this time around, only because yes, this was a great story. This was a nice story to actually be able to witness. But at the same time, it's not to the same grandeur as I felt was seen in other Miyazaki productions.
I will say, this is probably worth watching again later down the line.
Yeah.
That there are very wide watchable qualities for this film.
Oh yeah.
Heck, I even would say, compared to a very catalog on a very wide spectrum, I would not be surprised if we were to do like a favorites list or ranking list, that this would probably be very within the top 10.
Yeah.
It's not it is among a favorable area of where Studio Ghibli's library is at.
Anytime where you expect, I would rather you leave me probably wanting more than less.
And so we have it. That was our review for The Boy and the Heron.
As always, if you like, share, and subscribe, and please hit that bell down there at the bottom for notifications if you want more content just like this.
And also be sure to look at our social media outlets of Twitter, X, Facebook, and Instagram, and also Letterboxd for other content that we don't necessarily post on this channel.
As always, there's only so many hours left in the day and not enough time to do it.
My name is Adam.
And I am Aaron.
This has been a Seeking Media Productions.
See y'all later.